And good morning, everyone. Happy 5-0 Tuesday on this Derby week here. Hope you guys are doing well. I'm wave meteorologist Brian Good. Day number 2 here, Derby week. Finally getting some sunshine. Susan, you're right. It's nice to see it back in the area, although it is chilly, but it's always chilly at some point in Derby week, right? It never seems to be a completely warm setup in early May, but that's all right. At least we got the sun. That is step 1. Step 2, I think, and I think a lot of you will agree on this, is to get rid of the wind. The wind has been just absolutely crazy this year. Type 1 if you're over the wind. Type 2 if you want more wind. I don't think I'm going to see many 2s. I think we were at something like the 5th windiest year to date so far on wind. But we'll be analyzing those records in the coming days and weeks ahead, obviously. But because we have, I'm sure, more windy days ahead of us. Today's wind will not be as bad as yesterday, but I do think it will be noticeable as we head into this afternoon. Just a heads up on that. We're going to cover that setup. I'm seeing a lot of ones. That's good. Thank you all. Hi, Glenda. Hello. I see Justine. Hello, Nancy. Yes, Nancy, Saturday is looking pretty good. There is part of the weekend we'll be watching. I'll show you in just a second. I made that sound more weird than I think it needed to be. Saturday looks a lot better. And the pollen, you're right, Angie. That's a good point. She's talking about the pollen count, how it's high right now. Then you got the wind blowing it all around everywhere. So everyone's been sneezing. Everyone's got more of that, the sore throat. And also, you got to keep in mind, dry air too. When you get a lot of dry air, that's like really bad for sinus infections. So that too can become a problem. But a lot to cover when it comes to, obviously, the wind setup. We'll cover that for today. The Oaks rain, which is still there. And then, of course, the Derby latest as well. Take you out live to Churchill. Beautiful out there this morning. Good crowd. It's probably the busiest Tuesday that I can recall seeing at the backside of Churchill Downs. And wow, usually it gets busier about mid to late week. But for a Tuesday, it was a little unusual. So there were a lot of folks out. Saw a lot of contenders out there. We saw Forte again. Saw Two Phils. And Two Phils hasn't got a lot of attention, but for some reason I like Two Phils. But he was on the track today. We saw some of the fillies as well for the Oaks Day, including Gambling Girl was out there. So it was just busy. A lot of media, just cameras just snapping like paparazzi everywhere. Certainly the stars, the biggest stars in the world really in town right now. So it's pretty cool. All right. So today we've got the beautiful blue sky. It is sunny out. Temperatures are warm steadily as we head through the midday period. Here's what we're watching. We talked about this yesterday, is that little lobe of moisture that was going to sneak in and wrap around. And it's not very wide, but boy, it's persistent. Just enough to be annoying. Just enough to be annoying. But it is aiming right toward wave country. So that is on track. It's only going to last 2 or 3 hours, but it's going to be happening right at the time when the sun is trying to do its best on the warming part of the day. So that'll get interrupted. So areas that will experience this cloud shield a little longer will be a little cooler in the 50s. Other areas that end up with more sun will have a chance to get into the 60s. That's really the biggest difference on temperature today. How many clouds will you get? The lowest layers of the atmosphere, though, quite dry. So to get measurable rain out of this little batch of moisture trying to move through is going to be pretty slim. Best opportunity is going to be up there to the north and east of Louisville. Now look at the snow. This is record snow for early May into the UP of Michigan. I'm talking about several inches of snow falling in this area. So I know around here it's like, why can't we get out of this cold, chilly pattern? Let's get out of this. And they're up there in the north like, when's it going to stop snowing? It's been snowing for weeks now. The core of winter, really, for a good chunk of the eastern part of the country, has been the last 3 to 4 weeks. For Louisville, it was 2 days before Christmas. That was really the core of winter for us. All right, so the game plan today will be to bring those clouds to the south and east today. The wind is going to ramp up as those move through. As you get into, again, that off and on sunny scenario, it creates an imbalance. You get in the heating, you get a lot of what we call the mixing of the atmosphere, and that creates much more of a windier setup. So gusts of 30, 32, something like that miles per hour expected today. So once again, here we go. That will break up tonight. Now, here's the thing. Tonight, there is a chance the air itself is going to be colder tonight. How low we go tonight will be determined by cloud cover, which will begin to become more ragged for the overnight. And secondly, wind speed. Now, this is where the wind would be a plus if you've already got something planted or you have something blooming and you really just don't want to get a perennial that doesn't want to lose its blooms. Then the wind would be a good thing because that would prevent frost from forming tonight. And that's what we're leaning toward right now, is the idea that we'll have enough wind. Even if we were to clear all the way out, the wind probably would prevent it. So those are the two elements. So we'll trend and just see how it goes later today and see if it's still holding. But so far, everything seems to be pointing at a wind over 10 miles per hour all night long. The flip side to that, to be devil's advocate, is it will create a cold morning tomorrow. The coldest probably of the week, and it will have a wind chill. So just make sure you're ready for that. But we'll improve things as we get into tomorrow. That's good. We'll get back to some sunshine. Temperatures will try to get back to normal. They won't make it, but they'll try. Normal's in the 70s. We're only talking about 60s tomorrow, so baby steps. But we have a good chance to get in the 70s for Derby. Rain chance gone out of that forecast now because this system that we've been tracking all for about a good 4 or 5 days now that's going to be approaching for Oaks Day looks stalled just enough to where we'll be able to get Oaks or Derby in just fine. Then we get into what looks to be an increase in cloud setup into Oaks and rain. Now, we've talked about the system for several days, how it's going to aim right toward the Ohio Valley, but remember, the southern southwest side is going to have much more of a push of a higher moisture level, southwest wind pushing into it. Meanwhile, we've got a strong high and low pressure to way to our east, so kind of working together to beat up on the northern side of it to where it will keep the northern fringe of that relatively light on the rain side, but you don't have to go far. You go right across wave country, and I'm talking like E-Town, Munfordville, Greensburg, into maybe even Hodgenville. You guys will be starting to get into more of the thunderstorm side. I don't see anything severe, just FYI, but you cross into more of the lightning and thunder scenario, though, the more south you travel across Kentucky. The problem we got to watch is that this is right on the edge of that into wave country. But so far, everything has been on our side to where we'll stay in the lighter rain zone. Some of the rainfall amounts coming in at about 4/10 to 6/10, so about a half inch on average is what I'm seeing that keeps showing up for Louisville. That is not enough to, if it's spread out through the day, which it likely will be, it's not enough to really change the track condition dramatically. I think it'll at least be fast a good chunk of the daytime period. And the arrival of this is still being worked out. We don't know yet if it's going to be noon, the rain will begin, or it'll be 5 p.m. near the getting close to the run for the Lilies that we will see the rain increase. That window right now I'm modeling, there's too much of a margin of error right now. But in general, it's more likely after the 12 p.m. window than is before the 12 p.m. window, if that helps. Probably doesn't if you're going to the track for Oaks, but it does look like there will be a period of lighter rain. We're going to keep the chances relatively stable for now, but I got a feeling we're going to have to go pretty high on this as we get a little more data on it. The one thing that's what's holding me back on this is because remember I said that the drier, or at least the attempt at drier air punching in the north, sometimes I've seen this happen and it will end up creating just enough of a dry layer that in some cases you get a lot of virgo, which is rain falling in the radar, precipitation that doesn't make it to the ground. That could allow for some gaps. Even though the radar may show green, it may not entirely reach the ground. That is still possible in some areas. So that's the reason why I do think there's a little bit of room on this. I'm trying to be glass half full on it, but at the same time, I want you guys to be at least aware that you need to plan for rain for your outfits and temperatures in the 60s, but plan for rain. As long as you're planning for it, you'll be fine. You don't want to make those last minute adjustments. That's more of a pain, right? Now, the system itself is going to keep moving to the southeast. That trend is still there. Will we have rain on the radar when you wake up Derby morning? More than likely we will. I know for those of us that'll be Churchill Downs for sunrise on Derby Day, we'll likely have at least some rain close by, or it'll still be quite wet and damp feeling outside because the rain had just ended. But this is one of those days for Derby Day where you get into like 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock in the morning, and then suddenly things start to improve. The sun starts to come out. And remember, if you can get away from blocking that sun, then the atmosphere has a chance to try to catch up and get us into the 70s. So there is room here from anywhere from a high of 72 to near 80 on Derby Day. That's the range. It's highly dependent on when does the sun try to get through those clouds Derby morning. So that's some good news. I think we could really end this on a really positive note. And we got a narrow window for that because once we get into the latter half of the weekend, we get into we got a warm front, and then there's a lot of mini low pressures that scoot on by. You see that orange-red shading? That's not severe weather. That just means we're unstable in the extended. We get into a summer pattern, flipping the narrative fairly quick, getting back into the 80s. Daily chances for showers and storms coming into play. That may go all the way to Mother's Day. We'll see. There is one more low that wants to try to dip down. I don't know if it's going to be successful in getting too far south compared to the past several have been, but it is looking more summery anyway once we get past Derby, which makes a lot of sense that would be the case. But that's where we stand right now on that. So let me run down the rain chance real quick for you guys. We'll go ahead and keep that spike there for Oaks Day. Again, Derby's good. Oaks Day, it'd be more of an afternoon and evening trend, and then it tapers back down early in the day. It'd be nice if we could just get that focus a little more to the overnight hours between Oaks and Derby. If it has to rain at all, it'd be nice to fit it a little more in that window. It's possible. It's possible. We just don't want it to overlap earlier or later. That'd be nice to work on that. So there's where we stand. I don't see any more frost potential or anything like that once we get past tonight and tomorrow morning. And again, that window is very limited tomorrow because of the wind. Otherwise, I think we're in good shape on that side. But it's going to take a little bit of time here to get into warmer weather. Derby Day, I think, will actually stand out as the day that a lot of you will notice on that. Actually, Derby won't be too bad as well. Any questions on this? Anyone? Everyone good? Everyone good? Any plans? Anyone going to Oaks on Friday? Actually, if we're going to the track, which day are you going? Are you going to Derby? Are you going to Oaks? Are you going to Derby? Or all three? And I know for locals, it's always very different, but we don't have all locals watching. In fact, we got some of you, where's it at? Like Justine there. It's in Ohio right now watching. So some of you are watching planning to travel. So I understand that. You may go to all these events, but a lot of locals usually do the house party scenario type of events for a Derby. But if you are heading, again, I get up 3 days. I think Oaks is the one right now we got to watch. Okay. So that's where we stand. You guys try to hang tight, try to stay warm, hang on tight, avoid that wind, take your allergy meds, all that good stuff. We'll be fine tuning this forecast as we've been doing nonstop here, and we'll keep an eye on adjusting the trends. Just to have more on this coming up on midday at 11 a.m. All right, you guys take care. I will see you guys bright and early again tomorrow at sunrise at the Downs there, and it's going to be the kickoff to Champions Day tomorrow. Remember to wear your blue and white for Champions Day. So kind of a heads up on that, with temperatures again generally into the 60s as we head into your Wednesday. Take care, guys. I'll see you soon.